Good evening, Arlene. Good evening, Mark. Thank you very much for tuning in. As you can see, I've tried putting my leaflets over so it says NHPUK hold, but bit of a failure because I moved my table back. But my leaflets. My leaflets, you've told me about antisocial behaviour, environmental health rats, as we know, because of the complaints the public have put in, that's people in Hollingwood, they're attempting to deal with it around the area. That's what it says in the Labour leaflet. And that's not Labour, that's the members of the public in Hollingwood who've done that, because everyone I talked to said that they reported it, because I asked them, have you reported it? That's the main thing. Disused churches and holding on to our Christian values. We got told to me and Pat by a woman on Hollins Road, and we agreed. Gender identity in schools. It's looking like a grandma come up to me and said, gender identity you've wrote on your leaflet. I said, yeah. She said, you can be who you want to be, but should we be teaching kids at 3-year-old? And she thinks it's indoctrination, which is a perfectly reasonable answer from someone with conservative values. Yeah. Crime and knife crime. We've had certainly one of the most brutal gang murders in Greater Manchester in the past couple of years. Happened to a lad in Moston. Let me just try and get his details up. Seven gang members jailed for a total of 146 years. And 2 of the lads were off Hollingwood. One were born in 1998 and the other were born in 2002. Still baby teenagers, if you ask me. Both convicted of murder in a 7-man gang. I'll show you I'll put the link in the chat. So yeah, knife crime and stuff like that is fair enough for people to talk about. One woman, when we went round, a guy had been stabbed. He died. And he died on her front porch, and the forensics sealed off her front porch, so she couldn't get out of the house for 4 days because of it. So a guy got stabbed and died right on the doorstep. Then there was another guy died. He came with some others to attack some people on Limeside and ended up getting injured himself and died, stabbed or hit with a machete. So yeah, crime and knife crime should be mentioned. If it's not on other people's leaflets, if they're not bothered about it when your kids are going around stabbing each other, if you're not bothered about it, then it's an integral part of our time. I can tell you that because statistically, even though Oldham's only 270,000 people, we've had some of the worst violent crime increases in the country, and they've happened in Oldham. There's been high knife crime incidents as well in Oldham, marked in Oldham, and considering there's millions of people in London, then Oldham has beat London a couple of times on violent crime increases. There was a stabbing of a lad in Oldham on Waterloo Street. Mohammed got stabbed by a gang of 5 Somalians, and it said he was there at the wrong time. But what they didn't tell you and the police would have probably have known this, These guys have been cruising the streets looking for someone to target, right? It's not mentioned in any of the newspaper reports about it, but I know this because it's come from reliable reliable source. So yeah, you know, Oldham Town Centre, which is one of the worst crime areas, the worst crime area in Oldham, one of the worst in Greater Manchester. An old woman over 90, I think she was 92, phoned me up and said she just don't like going up there. She can't understand people and stuff like that. And you can't. You know, like if I'm good with languages and stuff like that and understanding people, but you know, how am I supposed to translate when I don't know? And it's just like that. There's 82 different first languages in the UK. Now, if you was marrying someone, let's say you was a white dude, an English dude, and you was marrying a Filipino, she'd have to go through all different kinds of checks to make sure she speaks English. And all these people have got past all that and just come here. There's people in Oldham who haven't spoke English for 30 years while they've been here, which is ridiculous. How are these people supposed to get into society and stuff like that? It's Big John. It's not any other candidate or any other activist in Oldham who's told you about schools that kids don't learn English properly when they're coming out. Big John's the only one who goes on about that. Big John's the only one who goes on about the Ritchie report, which goes back 30 years from when it came out in 2001 about the disparities in Oldham. No one's willing to talk about it. Obviously, it might upset certain sections of the community, but if we don't talk about it, how are we ever going to solve these issues? How are we ever going to solve our integration issues and stuff like that? If we can't talk to these people and tell them what they're not doing wrong or whatever. Rubbish. Housing, big thing. I mean, one of the spurs to get me in last election was a 30-year friend of mine, family friend, practically my goddaughter, and her struggles to get a decent place for a fella and 2 kids in Limeside. Yet she was born there. She was, but she's not immigrated from another estate. She was born in Ollingwood and spent 6 years trying to get an house. And they've only got a 2-bedroomed house at the moment, and there's 4 of them in the house. So that's not going to last. And that was one of my spurs for my last election in May. I was going to run, but give me an extra spur. And I mean, I'm not being awful, and you know, I know me area. I don't get things wrong like this. When I tell you what's going on and coming up, it comes up. It's simple as I've got a good stock of core votes in Ollingwood. Anybody else who's trying to get him thinking that I'm a nobody, I haven't got any influence, or I'm not going to get any votes, you really have got another thing coming. You really have got another thing coming. There's hardly anybody who we've gone round and talked to, me and Pat, who doesn't agree with our leaflet. There's hardly anyone. I did receive an email off someone, and I'll show you the email. I'll let me just find the email. I've been delivering leaflets in a particular area. An area that I'd wanted to do more in. His email will be showing, but I don't want anyone to email him. You don't have to. I did email him back, actually, the geezer, in relation to this email. I did email him back, but this is what we're up against now in the United Kingdom. Yes, Dave, I'm good, sir. Thank you for tuning in, my man. Hi there. I have received a leaflet with your details on it. As far as I know, this party is made up of British far-right veterans who got their arse kicked back in the days, many times probably. Would you do everyone a favour and shove all the leaflets up your butthole, please? Thanks. So there is no veterans leading the party. I do support veterans. Me or part are not veterans. Never said I'm a veteran, so I'm not sure that they're going on about there. Maybe they've seen me other leaflet that said I support veterans and that, who got their ass kicked back in the days many times probably. So this is somebody who's like anti-British, I would say, going on about our armed forces, saying they got their asses kicked back in the days many times probably. This is what I received. Well, it's the only one I've received. It's the only one I've received. No, I never receive anything else. I never receive anything saying like, well, I disagree with you. What about this? I never get them kind of answers. Now, if I was to give that kind of answer back to someone, that I would get slagged off for it. But there's many people. So, this is what we're up against. But overall, a good response of the people in the area. We have now the things have changed. Things have changed. I wasn't expecting an independent to be running who sort of apparently lives in the area. I wasn't expecting that. What am I expecting out of this particular election? I'm not expecting a big turnout. Not expecting a big turnout. It was 22% the last elections. So, turnout was 22.3% in the May election. Gene Stratton won with 1,000 votes. Second was Hussein Masood, Conservative Party, 313. Next was me, 174, and then Karen Barton, Liberal Democrats, 151, and Rob Vance, Northern Art UK, 67. So I'm expecting the same kind of turnout, about 22%. Now, Big John will tell you right now. Big John will tell you. I know what I'm talking about when it comes to these elections and statistics and all that. Now, if there is a bigger turnout, I can put that down to me and the other independent who's running. That's what I can put it down to, because people who are voting for me haven't voted for years. So when we get to a decent election where we get a decent turnout, it will be increased because of people voting who haven't voted for ages. I could probably go back now and look back and see that 20-odd% a lot, going back to probably referendum, pre-referendum. So I think the person who's going to win is going to win with 1,000 votes. Is going to win with roughly 1,000 votes. Now, she's come in, the Labour woman. I'm guessing a lot of people will just vote. They don't know her, but just vote for her. So I can expect another 1,000. If they don't get 1,000, if they get less than 1,000, then it'll be an increase for the others. Not sure how the Conservative Party candidate's going to do, but what I'm looking at is doubling my votes. I got 174 the first time, so I'm looking at 350. 350-ish. I'd be very happy with 350 votes. I'd be absolutely ecstatically happy. I know I'm going to gain. Certainly I'm going to gain from the 174, but realistically, I've got to look at 350 as my middle line. 300 as my low line, and anything over 350 as my high line. That's what I'm looking at. So, but we'll see. It's tomorrow, and we'll see. So we'll tomorrow or Friday, I will do another video. We'll check the percentage of the turnout. We'll have a look at the figures of the characters. So we'll do that Friday evening. I would have been up late Thursday, and I need a bit of rest. It's not gone badly. I've still got some of my leaflets left, but I am going to be campaigning from next week in Hollingwood. I'll be knocking on doors again. So I've got about 1,000 leaflets left, which I should do that now till Christmas. Christmas, I'm going to have a new. It's certainly going to be a bit more professionally looking leaflet, and it's going to be A4 booklet size. So it'll be 2 pieces of A4. 2 pieces of A4 folded like that. Yeah. So 2 pieces of A4, and the booklet will be like that. And that'll be coming out for May. But yeah, so let me get back on the screen. Let me see who's on. Daffy Davies, it's local election, council seat by-election in Oldham. The woman who had the seat died. Hi, Lisa, Sonia, hello. The woman who passed away last month that had taken her seat. But the mad thing is, next year we've got a full election. So whoever gets a councillor seat this time is only until next May. Then they've got to run again. And we've got a full election, which will be interesting. There is a very good chance of at least 2 of the seats in the ward going to other parties, if not independents, and that's in the next election. I'm working for it. I'm working that's when I'm going to get my seat. So in my first year of running as a candidate, I'll have run 3 elections before I get my seat. But that's my plan. And I'm not going to look at the worst side of it. I'm going to look at the positive side of it, is that if I don't get my seat next year, I will get it the year after. Promise you, I will get a seat in Hollingwood. I will get a seat in Hollingwood. We'll get that seat, which will take more off Labour. You can see the Labour map behind us. Don't know if you can, let me just get my finger on. That's my ward, where my finger is. That's my ward there. The Failsworth wards. As you can see, there's Labour. That's all Labour. Look where they were in 2018. Look at it, 2018. And it's 2022, and that's what it's like now. The Greys an independent. The yellows are the Lib Dems. The blues are the Conservatives. The Failsworth Independent Party have got, is it 5? 5 out of 6 councillors now in their area. So yeah, next year could be the end of Labour's around 40 years reign in Oldham, and things will start changing because people are going to be voting differently. The council have had a big meeting about housing crisis last week, and no one said anything. But we built an Indian temple on land for housing in the area in Oldham that needs housing more than any, which is just next to my area. So where's Oldham's priorities? Is it just appeasing religious communities with building temples or mosques or whatever, and not dealing with the housing issues? They had a big housing thing, and I've been going on. That's why that's why we made the National Housing Party, because it's an absolute scandal how we're living and the kind of properties we're living in. And the effects, the council readjusted the list, the housing list. It used to be for points, but it's not now. It's for overcrowded and poverty, and more directed at new immigrants coming in. So, sorry, unfortunately, you Pakistanis who've been here for 50 years, you're last on the housing waiting list, guys, in Oldham. You're last on the housing. It's going to go to someone else who's just fresh come into the country and staying in an hotel. So you're not getting any houses for your kids. Neither any Indian families, neither any West Indian families, neither any white families, neither any anyone who's been here 50 years. You don't have no rights. You're last on the housing list. You're last on the housing list, let me tell you. Don't think it's not going to... You're last on the housing list. Oldham's priorities are to the newest immigrants coming into the UK right now, which is all the refugees and asylum seekers. Greater Manchester holds the most asylum seekers in England, if I'm correct in saying. I'm sure I'm right there. Positive I'm right there, that Greater Manchester has more than anywhere else. And all these people are going to get priority housing all over everyone else who's in the country. Even if you're already Pakistani, you've been here 50 years, West Indian, been here 50 years, Indian, you've been here 50 years. You're all last on the list now. You're last on the list. So obviously they like to build Indian temples, but not realising the housing issues. So now there's Indians who can't get houses and they wonder why. Honestly, it's a joke. It's an absolute joke, and no one will say nothing. The only person who says anything about these kind of things is me. Because I'm guessing everyone else would, it's too far right. Well, I'm not far right. If anyone wants to come on my streams and take me down with your facts and your logic, or you debate me, my email's my mobile phone number. You're quite welcome. We'll sort something out. We can either do a pre-recorded or recorded live stream, whatever you want to do. Please email me if you disagree with anything on my leaflet. Please email me if you want, and tell me why we should be sending money to Ukraine when most of the people I've talked to in Hollywood don't want to send money to Ukraine. That's the most of the people. I have talked to people who do want to support them. Don't get me wrong. But out of 100 people, 92 of them don't want to send money to the Ukraine. But that's not the narrative. On the news, you see that everyone agrees with it. Everybody agrees with it, but they don't. But it's not what they're telling you. If I become a councillor, I'll campaign that we don't send any money to Ukraine. We're not giving any of our funds to Ukraine. I will campaign that we don't have hotels full of migrants and people coming before British citizens. That's what we've always said in this party. If you're a British citizen, no matter what colour, race, creed, you're getting first before anyone else. Before any asylum seekers, before any refugees, before anybody like that, before any illegals or anything. It's British citizens. So if you are a British citizen, that's who should come first. And that's why my description on my leaflet is putting UK first. Putting UK first. Because we're all going to suffer. And it's not going to be one particular section of the community in Oldham. It's every section of the community will suffer. Our National Health Service is about to go crumble. Oldham is the biggest social care town in the United Kingdom. There's more people work on the social care staff. There's more people need looking after in all of Oldham, not just a particular area. Hollingwood has people who need social care. And all this social care thing's just going to be collapsing soon. And we're not going to have anyone to look after anybody. If we do, we're going to get agency and who's just going to let these people die. So all these adults now in Oldham, all the Pakistani adults, the West Indian adults, the white English adults who were under social care, it's going to collapse, guys. And who's going to be looking after you then? Who's going to be looking after you then? You know what I mean? Honestly, it's just ridiculous. And it's not, it is big nationally, but it's big in my area. The social care work in Hollingwood, and I care about it. I want these people looked after. There's old people who live there who need this kind of support and stuff like that. So I should be concerned with that kind of stuff, even though you might think it's national. It does concern my electorate. It does concern the people of Hollingwood, and nobody can deny that. Just because, you're going on about something that's to do with all the country, well, it's to do with our Hollingwood as well. You're not bothered about vulnerable people. If our other candidates not bothered about vulnerable people, I'll tell you one thing it's been hard, is meeting so many vulnerable people, and they shouldn't be put in that position. They shouldn't be, and they're really vulnerable. One person I escorted up to the town, to the civic centre. They went in, they talked to someone at the beginning who were all right with them. Then this person went away. When they come back, the total attitude had changed towards this person, and they was talking down to him and all this. This has happened while I've been running as a candidate. You know what I mean? It's just unbelievable, the stuff they got. And this is a person who lives in my ward, by the way, everyone. Not someone who lives in fucking Hull or anything like that. This person lives in my ward. Everything I've done and talked about is to do with people in my ward. The 92-year-old who phoned me up said she don't like going uptown. She's too scared. I don't blame her. I do not blame her. Thank you, Claire. Yes, Peter Smith there. You're right, Mark. Honestly, I want to debate. You know, a lefty would find out that I agree with a lot that they say. That's what they would find out with the lefty. I would agree to a certain point on a lot they say, but they'll never get that to it. And the bits I don't agree with, like they said, they call you politically correct words. I'm sick of hearing them, actually. I've heard it on GB News all day today. Than calling people politically correct words, but it's ridiculous. But, you know, I'm looking forward. The measure of my votes tomorrow will be a good indicator of what's going to happen in May next year. And let me tell you, people are only getting to action because I've been there since May. I've posted, I've done videos. Everyone knows I've been there, and I had a really good phone call today of someone from down there who said they fully support me and everything. They think I'm very righteous and it's put me up a little bit. Well, it's put me up. It's given me a bit of beef, but somebody phoned me up today and I had a really good conversation and big, massive respect. Thank you very much. But there's not just been my phone call today. There's been a few people. Tina's been nice. Ramo's been nice. I've talked to many other electorate from around the area who I've helped out, gone to, listened to what they've had to say. I've helped them out wherever I can, an email there or an email there here, and I've done what I can, what I think's best, and you know, it's been good supporting the most vulnerable and seeing the effects of what the lockdown had. One family we come across, one of the girls was talking about the children and schooling and stuff like that and how they've been affected, which was a big thing with me, how the kids have been affected and stuff like that. And she had some good ideas, maybe getting a petition together or something to ask for something within the area to do with schools. But, you know, I'll support anything like that, me. I'll support anything like that. But thank you very much. hopefully, I'll do well tomorrow. I'll get a nice stock of votes. I've had a good reception, and I've been doing well since May because I've been out since May, and I think that's what spurned everyone. I think that's what spurned the Independent on, the Labour Party, any other candidates to put candidates in now because I have been doing well, and I am making an impression on getting votes in Ollingwood. Again, don't let it fool you. You might not know me, and I don't know everybody in Ollingwood, but I know a good core stock of voters in Ollingwood. Let me tell you that I have. I've got that good core stock of voters. So don't think I'm just a flyby person who's just going to get, like Rob Vance got, 62 votes every time he goes. I'll be getting hundreds of votes. If anything's like what my first vote in 174, I'm going to be getting hundreds of votes wherever I run, whenever I run. But just that's just going out to people. I'm not a nobody or an ignorant person. I'm someone with a bit of noggin on me. I've done my research on Ollingwood, and I've done it since pre-referendum. Just let me tell you that. I've been looking at that area for about 10 years, and nobody's come up to stick up for the people in that area. No one's listened to them. There's been loads of stuff happened since then. We've had Andre Mora kicked to death by the police. There was old women being robbed, bag snatching and stuff like that. Attacks on people on Ollins Road. These all happened in the past 10 years, and there's none of the candidates anywhere talk about this kind of stuff. And I think it's very relevant. No worries, Pat. No worries. I think it's very relevant. I'm hearing of people who've been attacked in the middle of the street and they're disabled and stuff like that in my area, and it's just not going down well. As I've already said, it's an area, a high consistency of murders and murderers from that area. 2 20-ish-year-olds in March this year got done for murder. 142 years, a gang of 7 set upon a 16-year-old lad and stabbed him, beat him to death. And them 2 lads were off Ollingwood. Now, if you're not bothered about that, fair enough. Next time it could be your kids. Let me just tell you that. Next time it could be your kids. And I'm big on this. Don't be ignorant of the area if you live in. Don't be ignorant that your kids are okay because they're not doing this. You've got to think about the rest of the kids in the area. They have older kids obviously have a big effect on younger kids. So if you want to just leave all these kids stabbing each other to death, leave it. But that is going to have a knock-on effect on your younger kids. And don't tell me it won't, because it will. Then they'll end up having a knife. There's been some horrible miscarriages of justice in that area. I just want to talk a little tiny bit about Tommy Bilton. Tommy Bilton, 2015. And I've got this, which is a write-up of a member of Ollingwood community, one of my electorate, about the case. I've looked more into it. The lad who killed him, even though they both had knives, the lad who killed him, there's evidence that he was getting people to change the statements from while he were in jail, and he still didn't get found guilty of murder. His family have been fighting for justice. There are uproars of angry shouting at Minshull Street Magistrates Court when the guys called Stubbs finally got his trial came on. No manslaughter, violent disorder charges, attacking someone with something, but no murder charges. And the family live on Ollingwood, and they've been fighting to change the law, to get justice, to make sure that, I'm interested because, I do crime things, especially teenage crime. So I'm very interested in things like that. And I don't want this happening to our youth in our towns or in our areas. I don't want it. It's probably going to be one of the biggest things that I do this kind of thing. I want to help teenagers and stuff like that. So I'm all supportive of like Marvin's Gym. I'm all supportive of Marvin's Gym, getting kids off the street, get them training and get them more motivated and give them some discipline and stuff like that that you need if you're going to be training and fitness and stuff like that. So I'm all for that stuff to keep kids off our street. It's just as important as the rest of the stuff. But I mean, don't get me wrong, fly tipping twice in a week, an area that I've visited because I'm out campaigning. I went there on a Sunday or a Monday. Then the next time I went was something like a Wednesday or a Thursday, and there was more rubbish there. And it's from possible HMO type properties in the area, which I am going to be investigating more. It's a local, and again, it's another local from Hollingwood who's got me onto this, and it's a big thing. I can't stand them HMOs. Obviously, fly tipping and rubbish is a big issue in Oldham, has been for years. I mean, but what the council do with new immigrants who come here, they pay people to teach them how to live, which I can understand and get away, but they just take the piss. And there's just so much more of it. The council don't have money in Oldham to be going. They don't have money for street cleaners. They've probably got a limited amount of street cleaners. You'd expect across all Hollingwood, right down to Lower Lime Road area. This is from Chamber Road area, all down to Lower Lime Road area. People have said about rubbish all over the estate. And people have said in every street that I've gone on, Pat will tell you this, every single street we've been on, someone has said something about rubbish and fly tipping. But we don't have, right, 1 minute, guys. I'll just have a quick break, guys. Thanks. Sorry about that, guys. Carer's come take my mum. So, yeah. Nationalising Party. The council had a meeting last week about a housing crisis. Yeah, they're still building temples, not doing enough building houses in Oldham for people of every colour, not just one particular section of the community. So that's why you should get on board with me so we can sort this out, because the council aren't going to do it. They're going to give priority to Ukrainians, refugees and asylum seekers. That's what's happening. So you're not going to get an house, or your kids aren't going to get an house because of that. And illegals as well. They've all got to be processed. So it's all got to stop this. Otherwise, if we don't sort out immigration, we'll never sort out the housing crisis. And who said that? Kemi Badenoch, the ex-Tory race in the Tory leadership race. That's what she said, and she's right. But yeah, so that's me. I'm sure I'll do well. Keeps freezing. I'm not sure what I'm on there. Let me just get rid of some of me. Let's just get rid of some of my boxes I've got up. So, yeah, remember, Big John said it, 22% turnout in Hollingwood. I'm expecting the same or more. That's what I'm expecting. And I think the winner will get in with 1,000 votes. Let me just get where no. So 3, 4. 630, 630, 700. No, so there's 22% turnout, so less than 2,000 people voted. So the winner could get in with 800 votes if it's split between the other electors, so 800 to 1,000 votes. But we'll see. We'll see. I've got I did 174 votes last time, and I must capitalise on that. I'm sure I'm going to get more. So my target would be a nice round number like 300-ish. Anything over 350 is in the high range, and anything 300 a bit lower is in the low range. So that's my expectations for tomorrow. But thank you very much for tuning in, everyone. Wish me luck. Thank you very much for tuning in, guys. Thank you very much. And as you can see, the Pat's put in, Peter Smith, hello, mate. We're starting an online Bible study if you are interested. I'm sure Arlene will be signed. Thank you, SGM. Thank you for coming up the other day as well. Thank you very much. SJ in the chat there came up on Saturday. Through me looking at the my list of people who are voting and stuff like that, I have actually rounded off and found somebody who I want to talk to. But anyway, that's another thing coming. But yeah, thank you very much, everyone in the chat. Keep up the Scottish page and everyone, and the Welsh page. Hopefully, I'll be a bit more social media inclined coming from next week. Although I'm not stopping, I'm out campaigning next week, so I'll be knocking on doors. I've got a lad down there, and he'll deliver a couple of days before. He'll deliver leaflets to a particular street, and then I'll go around a couple of days later over the weekend, Saturday and a Sunday, knocking on the doors, talking to the people. And I'll continue to do that till May. Remember, John's the only candidate who's shown that he's been out since last May, knocking and campaigning. I'm the only candidate who's done that. Everyone else who's running has just started to run this week just on the power of what they are and stuff like that. But I have been knocking since May and going round, getting pledges of votes, trying to sort a lot of stuff out with people. I mean, if you're going forward, obviously you need to be registered to vote. We've got people registered. We've got people on postal votes. You can contact me if you have any issue with if you're in Hollywood and you have any issue with your polling card or cards that are coming, just get in contact with me. Email me, and I'll email you back swiftly, and I'll be able to sort out anything you have with your postal votes or your electoral details and stuff like that. I will be able to look into it and have it sorted out. What I have noticed, it's a bit of a mess down there. There's people living in houses that want to vote, but they're not on. They've tried to register. They're not letting them register, and they're still getting voting cards for people who lived in the house before they moved in. And one woman was 4 years, ladies and gentlemen. She's been trying to get registered. So hopefully that'll be sorted out now. I did report it to the council, but I might not reported it correctly, but I will get onto that. I know where she lives, and I'll go around and try and sort it out. So it's a pretty big thing down there that we've come across, me and Pat. People not being in and stuff like that, and not being the correct names not being registered to the house, etc. I have to check all this myself. And as I'm the candidate, there's only me really who does all that kind of stuff. There's only me allowed to do that kind of stuff. If you had an election agent and stuff like that, they can do stuff like that. But it's for me to do because I'm the only agent there is. I'm the candidate. But thank you very much for tuning in. Big respect to Peter Smith in the chat, who was my election agent in May. So he had a run through coming round on the voting day, seeing the stuff I did. We went to the count later on. We've seen all the action in the count and all that. So thank you very much, Peter. Budgeberg, I hope you're all right. And everyone else who's helping, thank you very much. But next May is very important. Next May, it's a big election for Oldham in general. There's a good chance that Labour will be losing the majority. And by the looks of it, yeah, they will. They'll lose the majority. They'll be under 30 seats, which will make it much more democratic in its decisions and not biased in the way that Labour want. Because when I get on the council, I'll be throwing things in about Oldham and stuff like that and issues. Remember, guys, I've said it about 6 times already, but they had an emergency housing meeting last week. Yeah, they're okaying for temples to be built on housing ground. So, like, what are Oldham Council doing? I keep repeating this, but I don't think it's getting through to anyone. I keep getting answers back like, the temple's nice, but what about the housing? But the temple's nice, but what about the housing? You know, we've got to have a line. You know what I mean? Now, our party, we don't want any religious building. We don't want any temples, synagogues, mosques, or anything building. But when your council can't even prioritise when housing is an issue, and you had an emergency housing meeting last week, no other candidate mentions it. And it's going on in Hollingwood, in my ward. It's going on. People are struggling to get houses in my ward. So, yeah, I'm obviously concerned about them. I'm concerned about people who work in my ward. I went up to the post office the other week because a guy who works in my ward could be losing his job. You know what I mean? So, you know, I'm not just bothered about the fly tipping on Hollins Road. I am bothered about it. But, you know, I've got to look at all the electorate. I've got to look at vulnerable people. So that's old people, people with disabilities, our teenagers going around stabbing each other. I think that's very important. And school, teenagers, I've got safeguarding issues to do with Odysee School, which again is in the ward. And I don't see any other candidates saying anything about the schools. I've proved to you that it's well known there's a lot of anti-white, anti-women rhetoric in a lot of the schools that we have. The last one, when the kids was praying in Brighton, there were things like kick the Jew bitch out of the school. This is what they were saying about a school teacher, people online. That's the kind of thing that I seen online, directed towards a school teacher, a white woman school teacher. Kick the Jew bitch out. That's what it said on Facebook. And I'm not making things up. And, you know, like, I don't talk like that about anyone. I don't talk like that or show that kind of disrespect and hate to anyone who's not done nothing wrong and who's just a teacher. But this goes on across Oldham and it's not being dealt with by the child services or whatever we have in school. They're actually lapdogs for a bigger cause. And I mean, going further, a bit broader than Hollingwood, right? And there has been issues in Hollingwood with this, with like illegal things, modern day slavery. Hollingwood, 7 people rescued from a basement, been there over a year. And major people traffickers from Europe caught in Hollingwood area. So yeah, you know, all these things are important to me. They're important to Oldham. They're important to my ward. But thank you very much. I'm going. It would be, Pat. It certainly would. It certainly would. I'm going. Thank you very much. I've got a busy day tomorrow. Got some ironing to do tonight. Got to get some paperwork ready. Get my briefcase set up. I'll be out tomorrow, although it's raining all day. I'll be in my raincoat and I'll have an umbrella with me, but I'll be around. I'm going to be checking on all polling stations. One of the polling stations, by the way, has not been shut. We're not using the polling station. We're using the car park. So all the same signs going into the polling station will be in the same area. It's not moved and it's not been took off the list. But I've already let a few people know, but they all know the same signs. It's just the car park of the school where they would have had the polling station. They can't have it in the school, some power issue. So they're having it in a porta cabin mobile unit that will be in the school car park. So you still can't miss it. And all the signs will be up. But thank you very much. And I'll see you all on Friday. You'll obviously see how many votes I got. If you're on social media, Telegram, I might do a little video on the night and stuff like that. But I'll do a bit more of a detailed video on Friday. We'll go through the turnout percentage and we'll look at the percentage of we'll look at the amount that people got and I'll try and work out the percentages. I think they might tell me online, but I should be able to work out the amount of votes. I should be able to turn them into a percentage or roundabout percentage tomorrow, even if they're not online. It's not a difficult thing to do. But thank you very much. Tuning in, NHPUK TV, live 16th of November, the day before my second local election. And by next year, I'll have done 3 in the space of 12 months. And for anybody who's just getting into local electioning, you know, I can see 2. Pat did 2. Big John's on 3. 3. Oh. Thank you very much, everyone. Thank you. And I'll catch you all up Friday. Thank you very much. Thank you.